on a worn-out town, paint peeling off them old brick signs. Folks work hard, keep their heads down, trying to hold on to better times. Used to leave your door unlocked at night. Now everybody's got a camera on. Still got faith if we get it right, we can fix what's gone wrong. Ain't about talk, ain't about show. It's about the way we live, the way we know. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights. Never standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, hard true stars up above. A little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase. It's sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back to heart. By the water line, kids still laughing like nothing's changed. But there's a whole lot of talk on the screen these days, and not enough folks saying it face to face. We ain't perfect, never claimed to be, but we know what matters when the dust all clears. It's family, friends, and a little dignity, and standing strong through the years. Ain't about left, ain't about right.
Welcome into Apex News Above the Noise. I am Kyle Thompson.
And I'm Craig Blanton.
Craig, we've got Sheldon Jacobs with us. We've got a packed show tonight. We have got everything from the Iran conflict to a major earthquake in the Philippines to some pretty dramatic news here in Big Blue Nation. But we are going to start off tonight with our good friend Sheldon Jacobs, local businessman and entrepreneur, who has been so gracious in joining us tonight to discuss some local business and economy issues about his own endeavors. So, Sheldon, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for being here, man.
Pretty good. How y'all doing today?
Doing great.
Good. That's great. Yeah.
Sheldon, you and I talked the other day. Well, little background. Sheldon and I, Memories Event Venue and Da Vinci's are in the same shopping center. So I've been watching Sheldon build his business almost totally by himself, from building out the storefront. Isn't that right, Sheldon?
Pretty much. That's what's been going on.
Building the storefront out to what it is today.
Yes.
And we were talking about gas prices, the local economy, and how it's affecting both of our businesses. Sheldon, how's it doing with Memories Event and scheduling events and things like that?
Well, what I do is I analyze my business with what I did last year and the year before, and I kind of compare them together to see what's going on as far as like the month of May and June, things like that. And I've just noticed a downfall in business as far as bookings. Like I believe it could be from the summer, people going on vacations and things like that too. But I'm always striking up different events and making up my own events. It's all about knowing how to survive those quiet times of the year.
I think every business everywhere in the country is seeing a downturn because of the war and gasoline prices. Inflation is just crazy, and it's affected me a little bit. I doubt it's affected Kyle any, right, Kyle?
No.
Not really. He's probably could build his business bigger.
No, but in reality, it has. I mean, I joke about it, but I mean, we have people that are struggling just the same. And I think in reality, the less disposable income you have, the more it affects individuals, especially right now. So,
right.
Well, then, tell us about your beginning, because I know you're from Frankfurt. You went to Baltimore, if I recall correctly. Came back to St. James Court, and then over here at the Frankfurt Plaza. Give us sort of a little rundown through how you've grown as an entrepreneur.
Okay, well, I'm starting off actually the beginning of the entertainment business, as far as like the bars, the clubs, things like that. I started here in Frankfurt, down on St. Clair Street. A lot of people don't didn't know that, but where Brick Alley is now, I think it's 325 St. Clair Street, where Brick Alley was. Now it's a Kentucky Hub.
Right.
That used to be, back in 1997, that used to be a teen club called High Five Entertainment. And me and
I
a
think
buddy,
I remember that.
we opened that up in the winter time of 1997. And we had all the Frankfurt High students come in, and we found the building. It was owned by Sam Marcus at the time from Marcus Furniture. He gave us the opportunity to go in there and fix it in an abandoned building and make it something.
Mm-hmm.
And we told him our story, what we're trying to do with it, and we got the kids out from school that would come down and paint and clean up and do everything. We got it all prepped and put video games, like the arcade games, stuff like that. Had a dance floor, had a like a concession bar, all kinds of things in there. So that's where it began in back in 1997. And then things. I was learning the business back then. I was like 19 years old, so I was just only learning. Yeah. So, and being a DJ, that was just perfect. I love the music. Since 12 years old, I've been DJing. But then I DJ'd around town, different places. The one of the main places was the Bottom, which is in St. Clair. Was in St. Clair's St. Clair Mall is what they call it. And I DJ'd there from 2004 to about 2006, whenever they closed. And I decided to move. So I moved up to Baltimore, chased a friend up there. And I moved up there, and I wanted to learn more about the business, about entertaining business, about business in general, being an entrepreneur. So I visited different establishments like venues, clubs, bars, even, any furniture places, everything. I just wanted to learn more. Mm-hmm. So to make a long story short, about 12 years up there in Maryland, I had a venue called Essex Event Halls in the Baltimore County area, and it stayed open for about 5 years. And I decided to bring it back to Frankfurt. I said, I need to bring something like this back home to Frankfurt, Kentucky. So one day I packed up, and I packed everything up in a couple of my moving trucks that I had, and moved right down here to Frankfurt. And the first building that I saw is the one that I took, which was on St. James Court. And hey, it worked. It worked out for 2 or 3 years in that spot. In 2019, I was getting established and stuff down here. And then in 2020, COVID hit. So everybody was affected by COVID. And from 2020 to about 2021, 22, we was just winging it, trying to make it work, So, the state would help us with, with grants and stuff like that, for business grants and things like that to keep us afloat. And then I decided, I was like, look, I need to get a little bit closer into town, because the St. James Court is on the other side of 64. So Craig gave me a call, and he said, hey, there's a space over by me, and it used to be a gym, and it used to be a wrestling facility or something. They used to wrestle or something in there. Come over here and check it out. So I said, okay, cool. So I made my way over, looked at it. I guess, Craig, you already talked to the landlord. Because,
I did.
I told him
that early.
Yeah. So when I got in there, and I said, oh, I need to get in here, Craig. I need to see this space. And the landlord immediately came up, came through the back door, I guess, whatever, opened up the front, came in. I looked at it, and immediately I said, this is it. Yeah. This is it right here. It's going to take a little work, but this is it.
It ended up taking a lot of work, didn't it?
Yeah, it took a lot of work. It did. The colors was blue and red. The carpet was red and gray and squared, and all of that had to be pulled up. So a lot of paint, building the bar, and still working on my kitchen. Mm-hmm. So there's still it's a work in progress, but you can never give up.
Always is. Yeah.
You never give up.
You mentioned a teen club. Frankfurt is always looking for something to do for teenagers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
Could a teen club be managed where kids don't bring drugs or alcohol in, and give kids something to do on Friday, Saturday night, and Sunday during the day?
Of course you
That
can.
would that
I
work?
do believe that if you regulate your facility the right way and you have the right staff in there, that it can be regulated and you won't have those problems. Now, you have teens, that as we were teens at one point, and like when we began to drive.
It was just last year, Sheldon. We were
Yeah, I
teaching.
know, right? It wasn't that
Yeah,
long
I
ago.
don't remember. It's been so long. I don't remember.
Well, yeah, it just it can be regulated, and I've had I brought High Five back. It's called Club High Five, and I wanted to keep that name. And we brought teenagers in for between the ages of 13 to 17. We tried to keep it,
Yeah.
my 18-year-olds with the 13. It just didn't, that wouldn't have worked. So that's the youth. We call it youth entertainment. So, and we done it January, February, March. We did it in April, and we didn't get the turnout that we wanted at the time, but the kids were just starting to come out, and we just got to build on it, get the right connections with the schools around town, and I have some connections with a couple of the middle schools now. So when school's back in, it'll be a different scenario.
Yeah. And it's like, if you can find something for to do at night, then that keeps them off the street
Exactly.
and getting into trouble, right?
Yeah, it
Kyle,
does.
what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think the one of the reasons, and Sheldon knows this as well as you do, Craig. One of the reasons that I'm so big on youth sports is just to keep kids off the streets. Give them something to do after school and during the summer and things. And I wish there were more activities here. And Sheldon, you see this all the time because we see each other on Facebook talking about this.
Mhm.
People always say, "Well, we need stuff for families. We need stuff for kids." And then, great, you all make something. If
Right.
you think there's something
Right.
out there, invest in it.
Exactly.
You want the government to always, city government to do it. It's not city government's job to, help raise your kids and do fun activities. But I think that's the problem is that the entrepreneurs that have been out here who have been trying to promote these things, and then when you do have it, say like a Gaddy town or something,
Yeah.
people don't come out. They,
They don't support it.
on it. Big props to the folks who've done the retro arcade. I think they've done a good job of getting the word out. But I think there's also that idea out there that what is there for downtown? Where can people walk to that is a good activity for kids? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I do. Somewhere down in town, downtown is starting to boom.
It
There's
is.
different. There's a lot of new things coming downtown, and I definitely like that. And I even thought about it myself. There's still a couple other buildings empty down there that I would like to look at, and I have good ideas because you have a lot of bars that are moving down there and
But
distilleries.
those aren't kid related.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not kid related. So, but there's buildings down there that I see that are empty. I don't know if they're for sale or lease, but there's opportunity for something like that to happen down there.
Yeah, the one next door to Brown Barrel at the opposite end of that building, I know it's
Yeah.
for lease. It's $1,500 a month. I couldn't believe it was that cheap.
Right.
And then there's
Well,
a building.
it depends on the space, how much space is in there.
Yeah,
Right,
if it's all broke up and you can't do anything with it, or if it's all wide open and you can't
Yeah,
do
they're pushing it as a restaurant or a venue or something like that. But I've seen opportunities. I've seen different things. Like when I was growing up, there was arcade in Brighton Park that was hammered. It was slammed.
anything.
Yeah.
There would be one in Eastwood Shopping Center that was slammed in a good way, slammed like full, going all the time. Then there was one on that road coming down East Main. You take a hard right and go down that real steep hill right beside the railroad tracks. They had something there. But then the two skating rinks. But
Right,
it seemed
Skaterama.
after a while,
Hmm.
the people that run them or for whatever reason, the bad kids come in and they
Right.
chased all the good kids away.
I actually worked at that skating ring. I was there at the Grand Opening.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I DJ'd there,
And that's where I was asking about the control.
Mhm.
If a group of kids come in and start harassing others and say, "Give me some money so I can play the video games," then the kids, you lose those customers forever.
Right. That's true too. Well, you want that clientele that's gonna you
Spend some
can't
money.
single kids out. You can't
Yep.
you can't really single them out, but you can control them when they come in that door.
You
And
can
I've
or
done
you
it. I've
can't.
done it with I even done it with K-State. You know, that's a hard.
Well, I'm going to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But you say you cannot manage the kids inside the restaurant? I mean, inside your venue?
You can. I mean, you can manage them, and that's what I've done. You know, you check them at the door before they come in.
Yeah.
You know, you have your scanners, your metal detector, your scanners, and you kind of vaguely question them and just, you know, look them. You can't touch them or nothing, but you can look, you know, and just make the eyeball. You can eyeball.
You can stop them from bullying other kids.
Yeah, you can, you know, and you can just eyeball them before they come in and everything, and just, you know, let them come in and enjoy themselves. If there's one that's trying to make trouble, then you got to address it as they come.
Well,
but
you've done events with several universities around Central Kentucky. Tell us about those.
One of my big accounts would be Georgetown College. Their fraternities and sororities, they've been coming for the last 5 years and using Memories as their choice of a safe place to go for their formals. And so instead of them driving, they would rent one of the big buses, the big charter buses, maybe 2 of them, and they'll pull up, let the kids off, and they'll come in and party. And the ones that can, you know, they have fun. They don't even need a DJ. That's the crazy thing. They don't even need a DJ. They plug into my Bluetooth system, and they have a blast. I always have everything good to say about Georgetown. Never nothing bad.
And so they supply their own music through your sound system, your TV system, which is quite elaborate.
Yeah. Having that option for them help. You know, they play what they want to hear, you know, instead of a DJ, and they all getting along. They enjoy it. They enjoy it that way.
What about with KSU?
KSU, it's a different approach with them. Instead of renting the venue and actually, like what Georgetown does, they'll rent it from me, and then they'll just come on in, have their party. 3 hours later, they get back on the bus and leave. KSU is a little different because when they rent from me, they charge a fee at the door, a hefty fee to get in for each student. And when you do that, then you're inviting not just KSU, you're inviting anybody who wants to come in and be at that party. So it becomes a public party and not a private party.
Right.
And that's where the problems and the trouble comes from, is because the outsiders. It's not always KSU, it's the outsiders that come into the parties. Yeah.
I know you'd had one on St. James Court, I remember, that didn't go too well. And then you've had a couple at your place. There's been others over in Eastwood Shopping Center that didn't go well. But I think you've got it figured out now, right? Because you've had a couple of events recently.
Yeah, there's a promoter that I've been dealing with, and he's been very cooperative with me as far as my rules and things like that, my fines that I've put on them. Like I'll draw out and write out, okay, if they do this, they'll be fine. You'll be fine. They'll give me a hefty deposit. You want that deposit back? You buy about these rules. If you don't, I'm keeping it. You forfeit your deposit. So for the last 4 parties that this promoter had, and they're not actually students at K-State anymore. They just go around to different colleges and universities and promote these parties. But they have brought in their own security. I'm talking like 10 people, like 10 armed security. They brought in them, and then they go by the rules. So I stick with those guys.
Yeah, and the first event you held, after some other things had gone on in Lawrenceburg and Frankfurt associated with KSU parties, you had was the sheriff there, the assistant city police chief, and a couple of deputies.
They reached out to me. They did after that incident happened in Lawrenceburg. They reached out to me because I guess they heard that there was going to be a party, an event at Memories, and they just basically I know both of them, so I went to school with Scott, and they just told me if they I have their support. They support. They're very supportive.
Yeah.
They're very, very supportive, and if you need us, here's our number. Call us.
And I'll admit, and I think I called you the next morning. I was a little nervous, so I was watching our cameras because they parked over beside our restaurant and in front of it. And I was worried if things got a little out of control, but I was more worried about the trash, if there would be any trash. And there was very little, but like you said, I did go in the next morning like at 8:30, and I don't usually get up till 9, but I just wanted to make sure whatever little bit was around the restaurant, you had cleaned it up.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see all the trash at nighttime. So you gotta. But what I did with that is to help eliminate that is put more trash cans out in the parking lot and label it. This is where trash goes into here. But without those trash cans out there, then I don't know why they do it. Maybe it's a trademark of what they do. But throwing trash out in the parking lot, and I tell them all the time, I said, when you leave, do not throw your trash out in the parking lot. There's trash cans out there. Please just throw it in the can for us. And there's some that they'll still throw it in the. But we have I have my own security out in the parking lot. So as the trash accumulates, he picks it up and puts it in the trash can. That way, you have the church and stuff next door too. So
yeah, Multiply Church, and Forrest is a great pastor. Forrest is a great guy. And tell us about, like, you do birthday parties from little kids all the way up to 70-year-olds that I've seen there.
Everything. If there's a building, there's tables, there's chairs, there's music, we can do it. We do it. What do
people got to bring in if they want to rent your space? Do they got to bring anything? They don't got to bring tables, chairs, soft drinks, any of that stuff, right?
Just the decorations. If they have a specific decoration that they want, like a different color scheme, or if they got like banners and things to put up, streamers, balloons, balloon arches. We provide tablecloths and chair covers, like black, white, and they'll just have to provide the centerpieces, things like that.
Well, I know this. You and I have worked well together. I promote Memories, you promote Da Vinci's, and we send groups to each other, and you have people order from us. So us being two local entrepreneurs, we work very well together. I believe. You believe?
For the last however long I've been over here.
Well, I think that's the thing about Frankfurt, that for so long, so many people are competing against each other. I don't want, I want you to spend your time at my pizza joint, not this event venue or whatever else it is. And they're not focusing on what can we do as together. And I think, and outside of downtown with DFI and some of the events that they do, it's always been very territorial, and that's unfortunate because we all, it's a
there's more. There's more to Frankfurt than the 3 blocks of downtown.
And that's what I was trying to get at a while back. I know you have the downtown organization down there, but come on, there's other businesses in Frankfurt and not that far from downtown that can be utilized as well. Like, I try to even bring flyers downtown for events, comedy shows and stuff, and they tell me that I can't even hang them in the windows because it's not downtown.
Yeah, and you've got a big parking lot right out the front door,
right?
And you can use our parking lot at the same time.
Plenty of parking.
There's plenty of parking. They had the expo, like you said, over at Lakeview Park. I don't know why they don't move it. I met with the expo committee one year and laid out graphically why it would be held at Juniper Hills, and how it would work out, because
it's closer.
You could hold a 3-day golf tournament. You got a swimming pool. You got tennis, pickleball, volleyball courts there. You have areas for children to play. They put the rides up in the big parking lot, and it's a perfect place for everybody to spend all day. But that's thinking a little bit too creatively for local government.
Have we brought that up to them? Has anybody
brought it up to the expo committee? I met with the president and the vice president for like 3 hours, and they had it drawn out. I'd photoshopped a bunch of stuff with Google Earth as the base, and they weren't interested.
Well, and Sheldon, you were up there this week with Frankfurt Expo. Frankfurt Expo has always been a downtown event. It's always been, an event that has
As we know it.
it's as long as we've been alive, right? And
Right.
it is centered on the downtown activities, obviously with the reconstruction of the Plaza Center and things like that. It's kind of thrown things for a loop. They've had it, as a street fair and things like that since then. But um, you said right before we went on the air, like you've moved it out to, and you even put some video out this weekend of, I'm out here. It's a Saturday. It's 85 degrees. It's not raining.
It's not hot. It's not cold. It's
It was
perfect.
not too hot. I mean, we've been to some hot, expos before, and it was basically dead in the afternoon. And you even said, what's happening in Frankfurt? There were a couple other small events that were going on. I think they,
Yeah.
they had some other.
I think the Capital City Dance
Yeah,
had something going
I
on
think they had
campus.
yeah, they might have had something like a recovery rally or something. And it,
Yeah.
And
I think
Unity in the community
yeah,
downtown
yeah.
at the First Baptist, they had a big, they have their bit, I think it's the 3rd year annual event. I
Yeah.
was down there. I DJ'd a little bit. I performed. I actually performed down there and a couple songs and stuff. And then after it was over at 4, we jumped in the car, and me and a couple friends, we jumped in the car and we said, let's go check out the expo.
Yeah, after that event was over, and
Yeah.
we also understand Railbird was going on and some other
Oh
things.
yeah, Railbird.
But you're talking like this is the Frankfurt event, and I think what we see is people used to be able to walk from Bell Point, Holmes, middle of downtown. They'd be able to come down, the main
Right.
walkways. Can't do that if it's out in.
Not that far out. You have to have transportation to get there.
Yeah. So
Unless
my
you're
next
back in
question is,
the
how do you fix that? Do you make it a downtown event?
Expo is meant to be downtown. We all know that.
Right.
From when we were kids.
Right.
When we ran Elkhorn together,
Well, when I was
Elkhorn,
working-
where we go.
Yeah, when I was working
excited to go downtown.
Yeah, when I was working,
It's always been down there.
We'd go get those big pork chop sandwiches, big giant pork chop. We'd have lunch there. It's either Thursday or Friday or Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and hang out for an hour and then go back after work.
Right. It was exciting to have it down there.
Well, something's got to be done. Do you think the coordination of multiple events on the same day in a town as small as Frankfurt, do you think that hurt the participation?
When did they plan the expo?
It's always the first, what I read, not confirmed, but what I read was it's always the first weekend of June, always.
Let me ask you this. Did they have it last year?
I got no clue.
No, they didn't. I mean, they
didn't.
They actually did not.
So people, like, I know from my perspective, I didn't think that they were even going to have it because I didn't see it last year. So people planned over that, over that date, like the unity in the community.
Yeah.
I didn't think maybe they didn't know that it was even happening. I didn't know until like 2 or 3 weeks before the expo.
Okay, gotcha.
So
okay. Well, I think, is there anything else you want to tell us? Sheldon,
tell us about
promote your business.
Yeah, promote your business. Tell us a little bit about the business, how people can get a hold of you, and what it is that you do and what you can do for them.
Well, the business is open. It's for public and private parties. Everybody's welcome. We don't try to turn nobody down. If you have an event, come on out and book your birthday, your birthday parties, your baby showers, your whatever type of event is. And people say don't change your prices up and stuff like that. But I want everybody. For me, it's not more to. It is to make profit. But because I don't have a lot of overhead, because I kind of do everything myself, I don't have the employees and stuff like that. I would love to, I like to see people smile. I like to see people enjoying themselves, lifetime achievements, things like that. So if I have to come down on the price somewhere else, I'll make it up somewhere else, even if it's they're coming in and then there's maybe people that have never been there before. I would throw them a card. They'll call me. So the little ones add up eventually. So yeah, it's we've been open around here for Craig. It's almost been about 4 or 5 years over here now.
I think 5 years.
Yeah. Well, we've been open, and we're open to everybody. Anybody who wants to come. But the website is frankfurtmemories.com. We put a lot of information out there. We have an email email list where anything that we have going on, even blogs and stuff like that about what happened during the week. You got to sign up on the website and put your name and your address, email address and stuff on there. And so plenty of parking, everything. So
Yeah, tons.
we encourage everybody to come out here and try it out. If you go on to Google, if you're worried about the reputation and everything, just go on Google and look at the reviews.
You
There's
got a great reputation.
pretty much 4.9, pretty
Yeah.
much 5.0 stars in the
Right.
last. I don't have any complaints. I try to get along with everybody, and I make people's events memorable.
What about a phone
Follow
number,
this.
Sheldon?
That's why the main name of the business really is Memorable Moments LLC.
Yeah. What about a phone number to reach you directly?
The phone number is it's on the building. It's everywhere. And if you just Google memories, but it's 502-229-7053. And if I don't answer, there's another number that will tell you to call, and it's my assistants, and they can tell you everything.
And you've got a big event this Saturday, right? You've got the American Idol Golden Ticket.
I do. I have Dave Fio.
Okay.
He's American Idol Golden Ticket winner. I can't remember what season it was, but I talked to his manager a couple weeks ago. He came down and he came down and said he's bringing his band. Dave Fio's bringing his band. He's going to promote his new upcoming song that he wrote. It's pretty nice. It sounds good. And me and Todd Thylacker, we're actually going to open up for him.
Cool.
So we're going to play our music, and then we're going to open up, get the crowd hyped. Main thing is we got the ticket links out on Memories Event Venue page, so we need people to buy those tickets. If you want the events like this to happen, more known artists and things like that, we need people to support.
That's right. That's right. Well, Sheldon Jacobs, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show tonight, talking just a little bit about your show, and we will definitely have you on in the future. If you got some big events, let us know. We'll bring you on here, let you promote them.
Sure will.
So, thanks for joining us, man.
All right, y'all take care.
Yeah,
we'll see you.
All right, bye.
That was Sheldon Jacobs. We want to thank him for joining us tonight. It's always good to have our local friends on here and talking to us about all the things they have going on as well. Craig, we have still have a packed show, still got a lot to talk about. We'll try to get right into it. The first story tonight, probably the one that everybody's talking about. Hey, there's Sheldon still here.
I'm back.
Monday marks the 100th day of the Iran war, which began on February 28, 2026, with massive joint U.S.-Israeli strikes. A ceasefire declared on April 8th had been fraying, with U.S., Iran, and Israel-Hezbollah exchanges picking up throughout late May and early June. On June 1st, the U.S. struck Iranian targets after Iran downed a drone. Iran reportedly halted peace negotiations due to Israel striking Lebanon. What needs to be pointed out is what happened over the weekend, though. Hezbollah fired rockets on Saturday, June 7th, and drones into northern Israel from southern Lebanon. Israel then retaliated, striking Beirut's southern suburb of Dahai. It's the first strike on Beirut since the ceasefire renewed, killing at least 2 and wounding 20. That was the tripwire. Iran had explicitly warned a Beirut strike equaled a full war resumption. Saturday night, June 7th, Iran fired 11 ballistic missiles at Israel. In fact, they had told all their people to go outside and watch for the rockets. It was a very surreal scenario. It was the first direct fire since April 8th ceasefire between Iran and Israel. Israel's air defenses intercepted all of those salvos. Schools were canceled nationwide across Israel, because unlike in America, they have school on Saturdays in a lot of the world. Patients relocated to underground treatment wards at the hospitals in Tel Aviv. Early Monday, June 8th, Israel struck back against Iran. That would have been overnight hours last night for us. Israel retaliated despite Trump's explicit request not to. The IAF strikes western and central Iran. There were explosions heard in Tehran, Tabriz, Isfahan. Israel struck a petrochemical facility at Bandar-e Mashar, and Iran closed the Tehran's Imam Khomeini International Airport. In a phone interview with the Financial Times over the weekend, Trump said of Netanyahu, and this is interesting, he said, quote, "I call all the shots. I call all the shots. He doesn't call the shots." On True Social, he said both sides, Israel and Iran, are looking to do an immediate ceasefire. Final negotiations on peace are proceeding, subject to ignorance or stupidity getting in its way. The blockade will remain in place and in full force and effect until a final deal is reached. Things should move quickly. To Axios Sunday, he said, quote, "We are very close to a final deal with Iran. It's going to be a good deal. I don't want it to blow up because of what is happening now," which is ironic thing to say. Iran then announced a halt to military operations, but warned it would launch harsher attacks if Israel engages in further hostile acts. And then in a surprising statement this morning, Benjamin Netanyahu said, "Let me be clear, we still have objectives to complete and we will achieve them either through agreement or through renewed fighting. We are prepared to return to combat at any moment required. Our finger remains on the trigger." Iran enters this pause battered, weaker than ever. Netanyahu confirmed strikes on Iran halted for now. So, the question becomes, how does this affect the Strait of Hormuz? Those are still in place. I will say that just as we were getting ready to go onto the air, 2C TV, which is the largest international YouTube channel dealing with what's happening in the Middle East, said that the son of the Shah of Iran had essentially said that he was preparing to name his cabinet and to replace the government. And so that was the first time those statements had been made. The people of Iran allegedly, we don't have confirmation of this yet, had allegedly taken control of a number of military bases and government buildings, and even taken some of the IRGC members hostage and or killed them. So things are happening very, very quickly over there. Craig, Trump told his closest Middle Eastern allies prime minister not to retaliate. Netanyahu did it anyway. And then Trump went to the Financial Times and publicly humiliated him and saying that, I call all the shots. What does that tell you about where the U.S.-Israel relationship actually stands right now?
We don't fight wars to win. We fight wars for headlines. Israel fights wars to win. They've had it, fighting Iran and Muslims for 1,500 years. And I think they're to the point now that with these constant threats of Iran wanting to remove them from the river to the sea, all those kind of chants means that Israel's gone. And I think Netanyahu has had it now that the USA has wiped out their Navy, wiped out their Air Force. Israel can fly with impunity and hit anything they want. There was an article this weekend about when they took out the Ayatollah, the 80-year-old Ayatollah, or almost 90, right, that it was in a complex. They could have mowed down the entire building, but they just took out the wing where he was, and that's why his son survived and other people survived.
Well, there's reports that his son had gone outside for fresh air or a smoke or something, and this is the reason he lived.
But they did strategic targeting. Unlike Iran, they launch 11 ballistic missiles. They don't care where they land. Fortunately, the Golden Dome shot down most of them, and the ones that did get through, they landed in uninhabited areas. So it didn't really hurt anything. But, man, you just think if Canada or Mexico lobbed ICBMs at the United States, would we just constantly keep taking all these other countries, tell Israel, turn the other cheek? Well, they ain't got missiles raining down on them from Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran, and now Yemen. They're launching from Yemen.
Well, that's the Houthi angle. Yeah, that's the Houthi angle. The Red Sea blockade threat is back. Years of disruption from 23 to 25. If that restarts on top of Hormuz, what does that do to global energy and shipping markets? And what does it mean for the American consumer? It's not going to be good.
Yeah. We better, the USA, we've talked about this before. We're building our first oil refinery in like 50 years that actually refines American crude, light sweet crude, instead of the Canadian and Venezuelan heavy crude. So it'll be years, it'll be a decade before we become truly oil independent. We can process our own stuff. We're already producing more than anybody by a mile. And we've still got all kinds of locations in Alaska and the east and west coast and the Gulf of America to get more oil that we know. And we're partnering now with Venezuela again, so we can be energy independent. And so if they block off the Red Sea, they block off the Strait of Hormuz, it's going to be time for the rest of the world to step up instead of the United States.
That would be interesting and something new, obviously, if that does happen. We just walked through one of the most dangerous weekends in the Middle East in a long time. Now we're going to turn to a completely different kind of catastrophe, one that's not man-made. This one is the Earth itself shaking, Craig. And you and I were texting late last night while much of the world was watching the Iran situation unfold and maybe asleep. A massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck the southern Philippines, triggering a tsunami, collapsing buildings, trapping students in schools, and killing dozens of people. The death toll is rising as we speak, and the concerns going forward are very, very real. At 7:37 a.m. local time, Monday, June 8th, 2026, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake, and that has been revised up in some areas as an 8.1 earthquake. Struck off the southern coast of the Philippines, centered at sea off Sarangani province at a depth of 33 kilometers, or about 20 miles, approximately 32 kilometers southwest of Maasim town. Tremors were felt strongly across Mindanao and 420 kilometers away in Manado, Indonesia, roughly the distance from Louisville to New York City. At least 32 people are killed. This is what we know. 12 are still missing as of the latest update. 200 plus have been injured, mostly in ruined buildings. Landslide in Glan, Sarangani province killed at least 13 villagers. 4 additional villagers killed elsewhere in Sarangani. 9 plus people were killed in General Santos City alone from structural collapses. This is a floor, not a ceiling. Rescue operations are still underway. And in many of these places, Craig, there are people who are just unaccounted for because they don't even know they're missing yet. So it could be quite a long time. General Santos is a city of a population of 700,000. It's the second most populous city an island in the Philippines. The thing about this is to give you a bigger idea of how big this was. A 7.8 magnitude earthquake. The 1989 earthquake in San Francisco, Oakland during the World Series that devastated San Francisco, and that was in a major U.S. city. That was a 6.9 to 7.0. Now, what you need to know about earthquakes is a 7.1 is not just a little bit more than a 6.9 or a 7.0. As they go up, the magnitude is significantly greater.
Each tenth is 10 times more strong.
So a 7.8 earthquake would rank, and if it goes to 8.1, it would be one of the top 10 largest earthquakes in the last 200 years. So this is a big deal. And the worst part about it is they are having what they believe are aftershocks, and they are hoping that it is not a major earthquake in its own right coming up. But some of these aftershocks are 6.7 and 7.8. They're as big as
and they'll probably go on for 3 or 4 weeks. But now that city, port, whatever it is, when I sent you that map of where the exact spot of the earthquake was last night, if there had been a tidal wave or a tsunami, as they call it, if it had been going up that bay, it would have been magnified. If you remember that picture, it would have been even worse. So they initially called for a 3-meter potential, which is like 10 feet. And it ended up being 1 meter, but man, it could have been so much worse that the flood would have done more damage than an earthquake did.
Yeah, absolutely. The national government's response from President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., that name probably sounds familiar to a lot of you. This is the son of the longtime president of the Philippines. You could say that. The quote, "The national government is moving and we will not leave Mindanao behind." End quote. Marcos ordered immediate disaster response, directed agencies to prepare relief supplies and evacuation centers. Quote, "The safety of our children comes first." Obviously, this was the first day of school back after a long break. Again, unlike the United States, a lot of schools in Asia go year-round or have staggered school years. A school year is a school year to them. So the Ring of Fire, a lot of people have heard of that word, and it's not just a Johnny Cash song. But the Philippines sits at the intersection of the Philippine Sea Plate, the Eurasian Plate, and the Australian Plate, one of the most seismically active nations on Earth. The country experiences hundreds of significant earthquakes annually. This is not the first time General Santos and Mindanao have been devastated. It will not be the last. It just happens a lot. What we know right now is that there are 12 missing people, and there are several trapped students in one of those schools up there. Craig, 3.2 million students were supposed to start the first day back from summer vacation in the Philippines this morning. Some of them were in a school building in General Santos when it came down. That is a number I can't get out of my head. That's just a lot of school children.
Could have been worse.
It could have been a whole lot worse. The aftershock situation keeps this from being over. There's still 200 aftershocks. Jen and I were watching videos all night last night of people, as soon as they started feeling it, they know to run out of the buildings. Get out of the buildings, get into a field or, into the roadway or something.
Nothing not above you.
Right. And so that was terrifying. And then you add to that a tsunami that, you say, well, it's only a 3-foot tsunami. You don't understand what 3 feet of
it could have been 3 meters, but 3 feet of water will put you down.
Yeah. So it is obviously something that we need to keep an eye on. It seems like earthquakes are a little more active right now. Something to keep an eye on. We've been blessed here in the United States. We haven't had something like that lately. But it's something that we should also credit the fact that the warning sirens worked and the warning systems worked. So people were evacuated and a lot more people were saved. I think it could have been a whole lot worse.
And the tsunami tidal wave is not a wave like you see at the beach when you're out there body surfing or whatever on the beach. A tsunami is 3 foot tall, in this case, 3 foot tall, but it could be 100 miles long. You've seen plenty of videos on YouTube of tidal wave or tsunamis that have hit East Asia. And man, the water just doesn't stop coming in. And so people, when they hear 3 feet, they don't think that's much. But when it's 3 feet and it's 100 miles long, that's a heck of a lot of water.
Yeah. Well, we are going to absolutely take a moment and keep the people of the Philippines in our thoughts. 32 lives lost. That's hundreds injured. That's a whole lot. Thousands have been displaced. We will keep following that story throughout the week. We will keep moving because Washington has also been busy today, and the next story is one that's going to spark a real debate about the limits of government power, the integrity of the immigration system, and what it actually means to be an American citizen. Because the Trump administration on Monday announced it is seeking to revoke the citizenship of 17 U.S. citizens accused of immigration fraud and other serious crimes. This is the largest ever effort by the U.S. government to use its denaturalization powers. Between 1990 and 2017, the DOJ filed an average of just 11 denaturalization complaints per year. And today, 17 in a single announcement. And this follows months' previous record of 12 in one action. Federal law allows the government to denaturalize foreign-born U.S. citizens who committed fraud to obtain citizenship, such as concealing criminal conduct. The 2017 Supreme Court decision of Maslin Jack versus United States set the standard. The government must prove the false statement was, quote, material, meaning it actually changed the outcome of the citizenship decision. Minor mistakes are not enough, and the government must prove it would have denied citizenship had it known the truth or knew that this was happening at the time. Acting Attorney General Blanche's keynote was simple, quote, when criminal aliens exploit the naturalization process by breaking the law, there are consequences. Criminal aliens are lying about their past crimes, including drug dealers, sexual predators, and fraudsters. Gaining U.S. citizenship is a privilege, and under the steadfast leadership of President Trump, this Department of Justice maintains a zero-tolerance policy for the abuse of this process, end quote. So who are the 17? It is a plethora of bad dudes. One is a Haitian immigrant, allegedly sexually abused his daughter. There's a man from Yugoslavia who was convicted of sexually abusing a child under 15. A Mexican immigrant convicted of receiving sexually explicit images of minors. A former Catholic priest from Colombia accused of child sex abuse. A Filipino-born man pleaded guilty to sex crimes. Indian immigrant accused of filing fraudulent H-1B visa petitions.
There could be millions of those.
There could be
hundreds of thousands. Let me back it up.
I will say this. This is just a start. And I honestly believe that they are ramping it up at 12, now 17. The DOJ has already said that they're targeting nearly 400 U.S. citizens in their current campaign, which is the highest volume of denaturalization referrals in
Who's the
history.
number one supporter of H-1B visas? Bill Gates.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
there's a move that they could be getting rid of thousands and thousands of them.
Yeah, the filing these claims and winning them are two different things. Every case must go before a federal judge with full constitutional due process. Each case requires proof of materiality under the Maslin-Jack standard. These are not quick proceedings. In one recent case, the DOJ revoked citizenship of a guy, argued he concealed his drug dealing during naturalization. His attorney disputes the claim and says the government relies on circumstantial evidence. There are obviously critics of this.
Of course.
The ACLU, they came out today and they said, quote, denaturalization is a drastic measure that should only be taken in the most extreme circumstances. But I think these are extreme circumstances. Every single one.
They're American citizens born abroad, right?
Born abroad, but then
there'll be lawsuits out the wazoo like there is everything associated with this administration. I don't remember this even coming up. You said what was 11 a year? Over previous years, over many years. It's just, it doesn't matter what happens. There's going to be lawsuits. It'll be tied up forever. Spend millions and millions of dollars to whoever gives up first is what it is, basically what all this stuff's pointing down to.
Yeah. The bottom line here, Craig, is if you assault a child, if you ran drug money, or you swore an oath to Al-Qaeda while simultaneously swearing an oath to the United States Constitution, you probably should not be a U.S. citizen.
But
that's
given. That's 100% given. But the people overlook it. They're overlooking Plattner. After calling all these other people Nazis, they're welcoming him. Even the Senate minority leader is, every time he said he's supporting him because he wants to beat Susan Collins. So this won't go anywhere. It'll just be a headline today. There'll be lawsuits coming out from ACLU and probably 20 other groups, other immigration groups, and just a pretty much a waste of time.
Yeah. We will move on to the next story that has got your goat all weekend.
It's killing me. And I'm not the only one. It is all over social media, from one end of the country to the other, north to south.
There's a real pretty lady that lives in my house, and she was so upset last night when I came out and told her this news that she couldn't get over it all night. Where things stand right now, we're not going to spin this. Right. We're just going to tell you what's happening right now. The LA mayor's race numbers, Karen Bass is now at 34.68%, projected to be a November runoff. She's already been called. Nithya Raman is now at 27.12%. She's now in second place. Some different news agencies have called her as the second place winner.
With no doubt.
We haven't done that, although it doesn't look good. And Spencer Pratt, who is the only registered Republican on the list, although these are all nonpartisan, is now at 26.69. He fell from second place. There is a margin separating second and third place of 3,113 votes. The percentage counted as of this point, Craig, is 83.2%. Ballots still outstanding. There's about 16.8% of expected ballots. On election night, Pratt led Raman by more than 26,000 votes. She literally conceded in her speech.
Crying in tears and everything.
Yeah. But just 6 days later, Raman has passed Spencer Pratt. The mainstream media explanation, and it is factually accurate. It's factually accurate right now, is that Democratic voters in California vote by mail at higher rates. Mail ballots come in later and are counted later. Republican votes dominate election night results. The Democratic mail ballots close the gap over time. It's documented. It happens. Whether it's legitimate or not, we don't know, but that's what is happening. There is a legitimate concern that it's not addressed by simply calling it normal, is that a system that produces 26,000 vote swing over 6 days in the nation's second largest city is a system that makes it structurally impossible for the public to trust results. Regardless of whether those results are accurate or not, the problem is not necessarily fraud. The problem is a process that looks to any casual observer like it can't be trusted. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. there's a video, and I'll send it to you sometime tonight for tomorrow. But the guy lists all the countries on the planet with a population bigger than Los Angeles, and many of them are third world countries that count their votes in one day or one evening. You know, Florida is the third largest state. They know their vote totals by the end of the night. But it just seems
it's actually a state law. It's a state law that
this
you have
is
to
30 days. This got up to July. And it's what's amazing statistically, if you're a numbers person, no doubt Karen Bass is going to win. There's, get the most votes. She wasn't going to get 50%, but there's no doubt she's an incumbent. The power of incumbency is ridiculously hard to overcome in the United States. But since she was projected to be the winner of the Los Angeles mayor, Rahman has got more votes than Karen Bass. Now, before that, Rahman got so few votes, she conceded, tearfully conceded. Right. After Mayor Bass was named the win, moving on to the general election, all of a sudden, all these votes came in over the last 5 or 6 days that Rahman was getting even more votes than Karen Bass. And she was getting more votes than Spencer Pratt. Now, we texted each other about midnight when that one drop occurred, 20-some thousand votes. And how many were 25,000? And Stuart Pratt got 0 out of those two. Now, of course, everybody is freaking out saying, how the hell can that happen? And then I put it up a thing on my Facebook yesterday about that. And now they explain it away. They said, well, it was a glitch. Well, it's amazing how the most technologically advanced state in the world
has glitches.
And not for the whole 40 million people state. It's for the 4 million people in Los Angeles City, not Los Angeles County, Los Angeles City. So it's just amazing how that glitch occurred. And then ever since that glitch occurred, Rahman has been getting more votes than Mayor Bass and way more votes than Spencer Pratt. It's just not statistically. This could be a college course on how this happens, because James O'Keefe and Nick Shirley have been out on the street and talking to homeless people, and they're saying they're getting paid to fill out registrations. You can ballot harvest. You've seen those. You can ballot harvest, so you can go into you can go to a senior citizens place, carry in 50 ballots and say, hey, just sign your name here. I'm going to fill them out for you. You just tell me who you.
Now, I will say that earlier today, Harry Enton, who is the polling guy that everybody loves on CNN.
He's the polling guru of all TV.
You see the stats go. He said today that the claims that this is that there's fraud and things by the Democrats is silly, because that the Karen Bass people and the traditional Democrats viewed Nithya Rahman as more of a risk in a general campaign than Spencer Pratt. So it doesn't make sense that they would push to get her in there. Now, that may be true. I don't necessarily believe that, but that's now the talking point that we're going to hear on CNN.
Sure. It's like in the movie 1984, when if I remember this correctly, you get 30 milligrams of chocolate a day. So you're allotted that much for a day or a week. Then they knock it down to 25. Well, they changed the press to say, hey, we're increasing your chocolate allotment from 20 to 25. So now everybody believes what they read, of course, without doing anything. And if you're questioned, you're saying, they tell you you're crazy, you're wrong, here's all the evidence. So I don't trust the media a lick, because they all start saying the same message. We've seen the videos where the local news anchors repeat the same word across the country. And I think this is the same. We're going to keep hearing excuse of support, if that's even the right way to say it, or reasons of support of why Rahman all of a sudden, out of the blue, overtook Spencer Pratt and got more votes than Mayor Bass, which, she's a socialist on the city council. And I just can't believe Los Angeles, And the other thing, why trying to explain away Rahman's voters all came in late. They voted the last 2 days and voted on election day. It boggles my mind anyway. That ain't hard to do, but it boggles my mind how the first votes come in are Republican, then the next one are the Democrats, and then the last one, the biggest bulk of them, are the socialists. And it makes no sense to me. It's not even statistically possible.
Let me tell you where I think most people are, though. Even, and you and I were talking about this earlier, even Democrats and other people who are, not necessarily political, but they're on social media. There's two sides. You have the president who essentially walked off the Meet the Press yesterday, which was wild. And he says, all I have to do is look and listen to the people. Okay, that's not evidence. That's not how it works. Okay. But then on the other side, the mainstream media is just as guilty because they frame every question about California's election process as baseless and misinformation while ignoring the legitimate bipartisan critique of a 30-day counting window.
Which is ridiculous.
And if you dismiss all scrutiny like they did during COVID and other times recently as conspiracy theory, it's not journalism. It's just advocacy, straight out. So both sides need to just start presenting some evidence. And I love that some people now are saying, well, I don't have to prove that there wasn't fraud in the election. You have to prove that there is fraud. And I think that's a little disingenuous too. Here's an example. Meghan McCain, who is not a Trump loyalist. Not at all. She very much dislikes the president. Says, for whatever it's worth, people in my life who have never, ever spoken about stolen elections in any capacity are now saying this about California. So to me, as someone right or left, hearing that from somebody who is not a Trump apologist, and we talked earlier about Nate Silver, the pollster. These are people who are not Trump fans, right? And they're saying these things. It kind of transcends partisan politics and kind of gives credibility to a problem that's already out there. And I think that's the problem when you have unethical things happening. It's not the actual act; it's the perception of something unethical.
And perception in politics, perception is reality.
It is.
It's like Biden got more votes than any president in history. Joe Biden's campaigning out of his basement. He has 12 people show up to his rallies, and he got 12 million more votes
than any other
than the most popular president. Maybe he's tied with Reagan in our lifetime, and then of course right back the votes go back down again. It's just amazing the machine across the country that can turn votes out. Because remember, you go to sleep at Atlanta, wake up, Trump was ahead 400,000. He's behind the next morning, even though they quit counting at 1 a.m. Same thing in Philadelphia. There's all those videos of them bringing in dollies and dollies and dollies full of votes. We saw a story the other day. They found votes in a bottom of a voting machine, one of those mailbox things where you drop them off.
Yeah.
They found them from 4 years ago. I mean, if this is that lax, it's when you send ballots out to 98% of your people and you tell them if it's not ripe for fraud, and all you got to do is look at the Medicaid frauds in Minnesota, Ohio, California. And one of the guys, I'll send you this video too, he mentioned Kentucky last night on the news, that there's a rampant fraud in Kentucky. I don't know how the hell he knows that. And I'm just repeating what he said. I'm not supporting it. But, man, is
this the guy that was on Rogan?
That talked about he's a standalone. But it's ripe for fraud. We know it's and ballot harvesting is the worst of all of it. When you can go in some place or you can walk down Slum Row in like O'Keefe did. And all these people are telling, and then there was a video I think I sent you that this guy got 6 ballots at his house.
Five of them
weren't him. And he don't even know who lived there before him. And then
Right.
there's one where
He could have filled them out and sent them back
sent them in. And like I told you, we could flew out to California, signed a piece of paper, and said, "Hey, we're gonna vote for the mayor's election," and then hopped the plane and came back in the same day. And they will not ask you for ID. But now getting on and off the airplane, you're going to have to show 27 different kinds of ID. But to go vote in California and 13 or 14 other states, you don't need to show no ID.
No, I agree. We'll talk about this tomorrow as well. But do you want to talk about some Kentucky basketball?
Hell yeah. Heck yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Sunday morning, June 7th, 2026, Kentucky men's basketball coach Mark Pope landed his highest-ranked high school recruit ever, earning a commitment from the number 6 overall recruit in the class of 2027, 5-star wing Ryan Hampton. He could be listed as a shooting guard, he can be listed as a small forward. He's just a shooter. Right. That's what we know. He is a shooter. Here is what made it even sweeter. Nobody saw it coming. Even with Hampton's official visit to Lexington, which we all talked about, we talked about it on this show, and it was scheduled over the weekend from the 5th to 7th. No one thought Hampton was on commitment watch. Pope and his staff sealed the deal mid-visit. BBN woke up Sunday morning to the best news in college basketball. So who is Ryan Hampton? Let's get to know your new Wildcat. Right. He is 6'6", 190 pounds, 5-star wing, small forward. He is number 1 at his position nationally. He is a DME Academy in Daytona Beach, Florida. He's number 6 overall pick, number 10 overall if you take all the composites, and he is the number 1 shooter in the 2027 class. He will play for Kentucky in the 2027-2028 season. He had offers from 27 schools, including North Carolina State, Auburn, Nebraska, Arizona State, Indiana, Kansas, Maryland, Tennessee, Texas, Villanova, and the Fighting Scrooge McDucks down I-64, the Louisville Cardinals. And it is good to get him. He is the brother of R.J. Hampton, a former 5-star player who played pro in Australia before the Denver Nuggets, first-round pick in 2020. He's also played for Orlando Magic and the Detroit Pistons. He chose Kentucky over Kansas, over Tennessee, over Louisville early in the cycle with every option in the country still available. In his own words, this is why he chose Kentucky.
Big words.
Yeah, his words, quote, "I chose Kentucky because of Coach Mark Pope and Coach Mo Williams. They showed me a vision and a plan for me to reach my ultimate dreams and goals. They will challenge me to be the best I can be on and off the court. They actually showed me from film and analytics what I can do to get better." It means they were critical on him, something that some players who've come in do not like. Clearly, this is a kid who's coachable. They are held to a higher standard, and the bright lights are always on. I am ready for the challenge, end quote. BBN, read that again. Coach Pope didn't sugarcoat anything. Nothing's ever given at Kentucky, and he's ready for the challenge. The story within the story was that Mo Williams, our latest addition to the coaching ranks, sealed this deal. Hampton specifically named Coach Williams as the reason he chose Kentucky. Williams is a longtime friend of the Hamptons' father, Rod Hampton, a former SMU basketball player who managed his son's recruitment. The personal connection, the NBA credibility, the vision Williams painted, it all came together. Pope's decision to hire Williams is already paying off, which is all the more reason to get him and Jamal Crawford on this coaching staff as well. This time last week, we were on Momchilovich watch, and that we got that big news, which was great. Pope was still trying to land that first big fish, if you will, and he did. And now, just 6 days later, he lands the big high school recruit. Right now, Kentucky Sports Radio, Matt Jones says Ryan Hampton is committed to Kentucky. Pope gets his biggest high school recruit ever. Jeff Goodman, Field of 68, one of the most respected national analysts, said it's a huge pickup for Mark Pope and Kentucky. Ryan Hampton is one of the most talented players in the 2027 class. Joe Tipton on X, he broke the news first, saying that they had committed. And Hampton's on Instagram, the 6'6" wing posted pictures in Kentucky blue and white alongside a bearded Mark Pope, looking every inch natural in the uniform. BBN has been waiting. To appreciate how big this is, the narrative of of Kentucky recruiting has completely flipped in 1 week, Craig. And I think it's very surprising how quickly things have changed and how people feel about this team. And I think that's something to take into consideration. Your thoughts on getting this big get on a surprise Sunday
what
announcement.
I told you about when we first heard about it, because I was this the Momcilovic effect. We land the big player, the one everybody in the country was trying to land. We get him. So that gives players more confidence in Coach Pope. And then you got Mo Williams coming in as one of his coaches, former NBA player, former NBA All-Star and all that, coming in, bringing Hampton. Now, are you aware, or tell me if this is true, because I saw this all over X last night. His cousin is the number 2 player in this year's class, or the 2020. Is that true?
I don't know the actual familial relationship, but they are close. Beckham Black, is that who you're talking about?
Are they cousins, first cousins?
I don't know that they are. I don't know. Again, I don't know.
It's all over X that they're first cousins.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that apparently afterwards, when this came through, that Hampton and Beckham Black and Reese Alston were contacted, and it sounds like all of those things are kind of falling into place. I do know that Beckham Black is supposed to be at Kentucky over the summer at some point. There is a key date to take into consideration: the EYBL Peach Jam, which is July 26th. July of 2026. Many of our top targets for the 2027 season will be on full display, and obviously Pope will be there. July could bring a lot of fireworks for BBN at that point.
What I took away was when Coach Pope did not sugarcoat it, like you said. You know, everything I read was he was very straight with him. You got to earn your minutes, all this kind of. There's not going to be any guaranteed minutes. If somebody's better than you, go back to the Reed Shepherd days. Why Reed Shepherd never started, but yet he ended up being the number 3 draft pick. And and so I think this will, as Good Deed said, the ice is broken. I think signing Momcilovic and now signing Ryan Hampton, it's going to get us some more serious looks than we have gotten in the first 2 years of Pope's administration. So here we go again. No more. I ain't gonna say I don't want to hear it, because I ain't nobody, but I don't want to hear no more fire Coach Pope. I don't. That's done. It's time for us to support this team. This is a huge get. Number 1 forward, number 6 guard, number 10 overall. This guy can play, and hopefully, playing the summer circuit, he can talk to some of his buddies. Say, hey, let's go win one at Kentucky.
Well, you talk about. I mean, you still have guys that are, Cam Williams, a junior. He could be back for a whole other season. I don't want to get anybody too excited, but Momcilovic still year, he could come back and play. We've got some guys who are going to be here next year, and if you can build that base around three or four guys coming back, and then you add 3 or 4 guys in the portal and 3 or 4, top 20 recruits, it could really change things. Now, does it change immediately? Probably not, but you have to also understand that Mark Pope has had a lot of injuries and had a lot of guys that he's had to play out of position. And a lot of programs have injuries.
We've had more than our share.
We've had more than our fair share, but we also haven't been deep enough to be able to, sustain ourselves through a lot of major injuries. And we've had season-ending injuries for our point guard the last 2 seasons.
Early in the campaign too. Early in the season. And
so
this,
it's something to be excited about for sure.
If you're not excited, you're not a Wildcat fan. This was such. I mean, I think we were texting back and forth at midnight when
we were. And the interesting thing about this is, I think now these kids and their families are seeing, hey, if we want to get that first bite of a lot of money that might be available, you either need to do it very, very late and have your life turned upside down for a whole other year, or you need to do it very, very early. And I think Ryan Hampton and these guys are starting to figure it out.
I saw in one of the Florida chat groups or Twitter, Twitter feeds, that their big stud player, I can't think of his name right now, but he was targeted in the top 8. Say it again.
Thomas
Yeah,
Hawk.
he was targeted in the first 8 picks. That is $8 to $10 million guaranteed per year over 4 years, and he still came back to Florida. So who knows what he got paid? So it's not out of the realm of possibility, because I don't think Monsilovich will go in the top 8 next year, but it's not out.
But a lot higher.
A lot higher than he would have gone when it was second round. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that we got Monsilovich back again. Now I think Moreno's gone. I think he has another year like he did last year. I think he's going to the NBA. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. We'll have 2 or 3 players from this year's team, good players, that stay over because the money will be better at UK than it is in the NBA.
Yeah, and I think we'll see that over the next couple of years until they fix this. Until they fix this, Wild West.
And who knows? Nobody speculated on what kind of money they've offered him. Because can he really offer him money? Because we don't know who's coming back. Because
we don't know who's coming. But I guess at the same time, if you get in early, you got to make those commitments, and you'll see what ends up happening. But at the same time, you also have these contractual obligations that at some point these kids are going to start wearing it. Maybe not this year, but in the next few years, they're probably going to be wearing their college stuff and promoting their college before they even get there. It's just money.
And remember, I sent you that video of Monsilovich getting off the plane and going to Paul Miller Ford, and they give him this big $high SUV. I said, well, so I told Kyle, I said, let's go get on a plane in Louisville, fly to Lexington, and get off and pick up our car too, because
pick up our Paul Miller
our
Ford.
2 vehicles, because it must be pretty easy. But if we were 6'9" and could shoot 50% for 3,
that's right.
But that was a first Monsilovich commercial.
It was.
Paul, I'm sure they didn't give him the car. He's leasing it while he's at UK, or they're just letting him use it. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, he didn't buy it. I'll tell you that.
Maybe he's leasing for $1 a day or something.
$1 a year, but something.
Yeah, but $1 a month. But at the same time, that's good advertising. If you're Paul Miller Ford, you can give a guy an $80,000, $100,000 vehicle, and he's going to be in all of your commercials for the next year. That's cheaper than.
He comes in. He comes in the showroom. He just happens to be there when, like when I bought my particular car that I drive around now, the owner of Quantrell, she was there, and right after when I was there to sign the papers, I don't know if that's normal for her to do that, but it was pretty cool, and we ended up talking for about an hour. So maybe
you talking for an hour to somebody? No way, Greg.
Just, I'm making up for my shyness as a youth.
That's right. Well, I mean, it works, right?
I love that commercial. That was so cool.
That's
get that.
I'm telling you, I think that he's going to endear himself to this fan base. I think a lot of people are really.
But he said he would, and he said, "I'm gonna." What do you say? I'm bringing a bunch of buckets with me.
Yeah.
So that's he knows how to talk the talk now, and it's going to be exciting to play. Now, Alvey Abroad's got this is to make millions just to play 35 games is a better deal. That's true.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong about that at all. And, that's capitalism. You're going to pay what the market's going to pay you. And if you're a new movie star, you're lucky to get 30,000. If you're a Tom Hanks or somebody, you get 30 million for a movie.
Yeah.
So, it's, did I do that?
No, I did it. I can't see the chat. I can't see the chat today for some reason. I've gone into it, but I can't see it. Maybe
so it was. This is going to be. We're going to have to start doing more UK shows. I mean, there's just so much that you could really dive into.
Yeah. Well, we did save the best for last. It's been a busy news day, but Big Blue Nation, Ryan Hampton is a Wildcat, number 6 overall pick in the 2027 class, probably the best shooter. And Coach Pope with the beard and Coach Mo Williams and the bright lights of Rupperino over Kansas, Tennessee, and Louisville. That is always a good way to start the week, I think. The momentum is real. And I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Make sure that you check us out every single day at 5 o'clock. Hit that notification bell as well, so you are notified every time we're about to go live, and you can get all of your news, politics, and your Big Blue Nation sports here every single day. I am joined every day by my friend Craig Blanton. Thanks for joining me, Craig.
Sometimes I'm good friend, sometimes.
Oh, my very, very good friend, Craig Blanton. Thanks for spending your Monday evening with us. Find us wherever you get your podcast, but definitely on our page. If you haven't subscribed to our page, make sure you do. You will get all sorts of good stuff every single day. Share it with someone so that they can also be a part of the Above the Noise podcast family. Leave us a review if you want to. That'd be even great. And make sure you comment below anything that we mentioned tonight that you want us to talk about. So until next time, make sure that you stay informed, stay sharp, and stay above the noise. Good night, everybody. See y'all tomorrow.